That's it. Now, stop the bleeding. Focus. Good. You succeeded. Mastering your breathing. It will open many doors for you. Now, it won't solve everything, but it will help. You will continue to grow stronger. Thank you.
So, I was doing a little recap. I was using some quote-unquote entertainment as research. Rewatching the movie The Shadow. You know, it came out back in the day when I was younger, and I was also, like, to say that I was young, you know, I was pretty into it, you know what I'm saying, to say, like, you could be into all kind of, you know, cartoons and all kind of other stuff. The fact that I was into that type of movie, you know, was unique, you know. But this is also going to tie into Naruto, you know, when I think of, you know, the Sharingans in the eye, like, and how the Sharingan could do the Izanagi or Izanami ability is to kind of create an illusion. Basically, I'm not going deep into explaining that part, you know, go research it. But it's basically like projecting an illusion onto a person. And this is also in the movie Push. So in the movie The Shadow and Naruto and the movie Push that I'm just naming right now because it's probably in all kind of different things, because again it's like peeping game of the symbols, you know. But on the movie Push, I showed like how, again, a quote-unquote pusher would push memories into a person. And one of the things, though, that was key about it was eye contact. Like, there's this theme of when you eye contact this person, you know, something could get pushed into your mind. And the character Khan, word to the bell, the character Khan on The Shadow, he in essence had the ability like a pusher and also the shadow. You know, it was Alec Baldwin, I think, playing that part. But anyway, you know, he could, like, he would, like, look at you and be like, you just forgot what you just said. And the person be like, oh yeah, I just forgot what I just said. You know what I'm saying? Like on some, you know, shit. And same thing with Khan. And Khan would use it kind of like the pusher from the movie Push. Like the, like how the pushers would usually use it on the movie Push, was they would most likely use it for a person to harm themselves, you know. So they would like push some type of memory or something into their mind that would make them like walk off the edge of a building or some type of shit like that. But again, the Sharingan, you know, on Naruto, a part of its ability in essence is like you getting caught up in it if you staring a person in the eye, like a person using the Sharingan. If you stare them into the eye, you know, you could kind of get hit with the little, you know what I'm saying, the little hypnosis, so to speak, you know. And speaking of hypnosis, so Khan on The Shadow, he was basically hiding out in the middle of the city in this big ass, you know, hotel called a Monolith, you know. And he used hypnosis on the people. Like, instead of him like doing something to, in essence, hide the building, it was more so like he casted, like, again, almost like an infinite Tsukuyomi from Naruto, or like a Tsukuyomi or like a Izanami type of thing. But he casted a hypnosis over everybody in that area in the town, so that basically it looked like an empty lot.
Lamont?
My God.
is.
Hey, fella. That building right there, what's the name of that building? Lunatic. Shiwan Khan has hypnotized the entire city. They don't see it. None of them see it. But I see it.
You know, but in actuality, it wasn't no empty lot. It was a big hotel called a Monolith, you know. And no coincidence that Khan, on the shadow, his eyes would turn red whenever he would, you know, try to cast the little hypnosis on the people. So you see those little connections. And then I research, like I kind of just brush up on, like, you know, monolith and the definition of it in essence. And I see something about this monolith that pops up in Las Vegas, and just so happens that it has like this mirror-like type of image. So it would seem like, you know, like invisible, like you can't see it, you know. And I'm like, oh, all right, there's something to this, like with this monolith, you know. Again, they could have named that hotel all kind of other things, but they named it the Monolith, you know. And a monolith, in essence, is like a big stone monument, in essence, in most cases related to stone. And I somewhat touched on this on the video where I talk about obsidian and meteorites, and how 2001 Space Odyssey kind of bring up the monolith, and it's like this big black stone, and it relating to obsidian as well, you know. And again, an obsidian is also used as what? A mirror, you know. When I saw this monolith thing in Las Vegas, it looked like an actual mirror though, you know, because in essence, black obsidian ain't really like a mirror that you look at to see yourself, you know, in that sense of it, at least not to see your physical self. I see another part of yourself, but, you know, as far as like your, you know, the reflection of, you know, what you look like in this body, you know what I'm saying? You don't see that with obsidian, but again, the monolith in Las Vegas, it had like that mirror type of effect. You know, and again, also kind of giving this energy of like it being able to be hidden, you know. And this also taps into what it is, the Umbrella Academy. The Umbrella Academy, same situation in essence, because the hotel was called Hotel Obsidian in one timeline. But then in another timeline, it was called something else, and it kind of had that same kind of vibe of basically like the Shadow with the Monolith Hotel, because in the Shadow, they was researching the Monolith Hotel, and it was like, it almost seemed like somebody like rewrote history or something, like they changed the timeline. And then in Naruto, Izanagi and Izanami has to deal with manipulating reality, in essence, like changing the timeline. So where, like, say for instance, if one of your ninja partners got harmed on a mission, you could like use Izanagi or Izanami, one of them, I forgot which one, and then kind of basically like rewrite that, you know what I'm saying, or in essence bring them back to life in a certain type of way too, you know what I'm saying. But you know, it's like, all right, this change in the timelines type of thing connected to the monolith, you know, in the movie The Shadow. And then in Umbrella Academy, again, this hotel called Obsidian, again, Obsidian, the monolith, the mirror, you know what I'm saying? All these same types of connections, you know what I'm saying? And then with Naruto, again, like the timeline type of manipulation that could be done with the Sharingan and the eye, and the same thing that Khan did in the Shadow, where he basically, hypnotize everybody in the city to, basically think that there wasn't a hotel in this lot, or it looked like an empty lot, and it's almost like rewriting the timeline for a short period of time, in essence, because in everybody's mind and memory, it's like, oh, that empty lot always been there, and that's all they could see was an empty lot. But then the Alec Baldwin, aka the Shadow, he could see, like, he ended up walking to that same spot, and he was like, oh, like being able to see that it was a big ass hotel right there, you know what I'm saying? And the illusion or the hypnosis didn't stop until Khan started, like, getting hurt, and then, you know what I'm saying, the hypnosis was kind of released from everybody, and then everybody just started noticing, like, whoa, where does this big hotel come from, But again, reason why I'm sharing this, for one, because it's something in real time, and I just thought it was, like, unique and something worth sharing. And again, it's just codes. Like, the main code is, for one, the pushing abilities with the eyes. And as I'm speaking on this, gotta give that disclaimer, again, not to be, oh man, somebody trying to push something into my mind and all, not to be on that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? None of that. I'm just sharing the symbols, aka the codes, and that allow for you to peep game in certain situations, you know what I'm saying? Dealing with your inner work and understanding yourself first and foremost, and then how certain things, may play out externally, but the code of the eyes, whether red or dark, but using the eyes to do some type of hypnosis or push some type of memory or thought into somebody's mind, and then in connection with, timeline changing and hiding a monolith in plain sight, and in essence being connected to a hotel, because even though one could simply say, like, oh, the person who wrote The Shadow was a fan of the person who wrote, you know what I'm saying, or the person who wrote the Umbrella Academy comic book or show is a fan of the creator of, you know what I'm saying, the movie The Shadow. And in some cases you have that type of stuff, to mention one quickly, like in the Dragon Prince, like the little cartoon I did like 1 or 2 film session videos on, but the Dragon Prince basically used a scene or a part that was in the show, the older show that I also mentioned called Twin Peaks, you know what I'm saying? And it was with a little midget dancing on some like weird underworldly type of shit, you know what I'm saying? But no judgment. Just, you see how, again, like, yeah, it could be that, but again, it's still, those authors, writers, producers, creators of movies or writers of books kind of using this same type of, code, this same type of energy to, to be expressed in, these movies and comics, stuff like that. But again, the eyes and the Tsukuyomi's hypnosis, pusher type of energy, and then this monolith also tied to like a hotel, but the monolith hotel / obsidian hotel, and then also a monolith being like a mirror, or you got the obsidian mirror, but then also being like a mirror, like that you could actually, see yourself in. But again, with this mirror monolith so say found in Las Vegas. And I ain't looked into it, but it was just like, dang, how, you know, that just linked up, you know, just with ease, you know. But just because it linked up with ease, you know, again, it's like having to see though through the research and all that, how that tied. Cause that's also why I'm sharing. It ain't just because I saw that, but I've been, you know, again, connecting and researching, you know, these things for a minute. And as always, you know, having to express like, hey, you know, like I'm only dealing with, you know, truthful ancestors, truthful spirits with 100% truth, with 100% clarity, you know what I'm saying, expressing that, you know, tapping into these things. But, you know, it's like those little codes popping up, different little shows and movies, you know, because that would also, again, this is like little you know, like connecting the dots, really. This could be, a matter of fact, might as well be a connecting the dots video, you know what I'm saying? Connecting the dots. So when you see it in something else, it's like, oh, wow. And even y'all, you know, if comment, if you've seen it in any movie or show or something that I didn't mention, you know, like leave in the comments, and, you know, that builds like a library in essence, you know. And lastly, before I go, you know, which I should have possibly said this beforehand, but y'all already know because I always, you know, say this as much as possible. And again, it doesn't mean you have to, like, if you're a person that doesn't watch movies or, you know, not into none of that shit, then, you know, you don't have to go watch these movies and do these things. I'm just, for those who may have watched these movies, and just as for the library of my YouTube channel, you know, and as far as connecting dots with all the different things I done shared throughout the years, you know, it's like, you know, it's about that, you know, but not to say, hey, you know, you gotta watch this, you know, like, no, you don't, you know, especially for my nature loving, you know what I'm saying, peeps, you know what I'm saying, for the nature loving fam that, you know, not really into to dealing too much with technology on that level, you know. Not from the perspective of like, oh, it's bad, but more so like, you know, like it's healthier to be more connected to nature than to always be on your phone or always be watching movies, you know. We all different in our little energies and stuff like that, but, you know. But now's the vibe break.
There's nothing to worry about. The most powerful exorcists among us are working on it right now. And they'll make sure that we touch down on the ground safely.
Exorcists? Like the ones with amazing powers who healed people during the epidemic? That's right. So please, have faith in us.
If you were once in a world, or you have ancestors connected to a world in some type of memory connected with this world, and when you once were connected with this world or in this world, let's just say you could fly in the sky. Now you're back in this world, and with the physical avatar you have, you know, until you learn how to fly again, let's just say it like that. Until you learn how to fly again, you know, you basically, you know, you only could get as high as you could jump, in essence, with your own avatar. So if there was a portal, let's just say there was a portal that was like 100 feet in the sky above you, like there's a portal like way up 100 feet. What's the best way for you to, or what's some of the best ways for you to have access to this portal? You would either build a building or some type of structure, you know, up to 100 feet, so you could, you know, walk through that portal. And yes, that perspective is, you know, connected to the Umbrella Academy. Not necessarily the comic books, but the show based on the comic books, where they had to build this the father built like a hotel because he needed access to a portal, and the portal was up in the air. And the best way to like disguise, not only get access to the portal, but also disguise, you know, the portal, and disguise his efforts to get to the portal. Like, instead of telling everybody, you know, or building somewhere, it's like obvious that, like, you know, like, why is that person just building a mound of dirt in the middle of the city, or, you know, in the middle of everywhere, you know, like, that's gonna raise suspicion. But if you build a building when they already got other buildings, you know what I'm saying, then it won't seem like suspicious behavior. You build that building to reach that portal, you know, and remember what floor and what room, you know, that portal is on. And so you get to that portal like that. But that's just, you know, that unique, you know, perspective of, like, you know, the cool little ways, you know, you could do certain things that's mundane, or that seems mundane, but helps you to connect, you know, on a deeper, you know, metaphysical vibe. You know, when it comes to accessing portals, you know, teleporting into a different space, you know, but more so, let's just say with access, it ain't about all other stuff, but just like, you know, accessing a portal in these times. Basically what I'm getting at is, like, you know, how to access a portal when you don't have, or you've yet to, you know, awaken your abilities to access it, you know, in the sense of, like, you know, not flying, like you're not able to fly yet. So how would you be able to access that portal if you're, you know what I'm saying, in an avatar that doesn't fly? You feel me? But your avatar does have access to imagination and knowing how to build things, you know, to reach that portal. You feel me? So, just a little cool perspective I just wanted to share.